Hey guys, it's Jane. It's Friday today, so I'm back again for another Friday Reads. I'm just going to start by apologising for all the bitching and moaning at the end of last week's video. I'm really going to try not to go there, at least not too often. So today I'm going to be upbeat, okay? Upbeat. By the way, this is the necklace and the new top that I bought last Friday after complaining about going shopping. So, oh man, I'm useless. Books. I had a pretty good reading week this week. I finished Infidel by Kameron Hurley and I really enjoyed that. These are like fantasy action stories. The central character, Nyx, is a sort of mercenary-esque character set in this world where her country's been at war for centuries, and as a result of that, most of the men are dead, and the gender relationships are completely different as a result of the fact that there are hardly any men around. So I really enjoyed the second volume, and there is a third one in this trilogy called Rapture, which I am planning on picking up soon. I nearly got it from the library yesterday, but I decided I'd just wait a little bit longer before I finish these ones out. After Infidel, I read The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet, I think I've said that right now, by Becky Chambers. This is one that's had a bit of buzz on BookTube. It's a science fiction story. It's got a real Star Trek classic kind of feel to it. I thought there's like lots of different races, and a lot of the stuff that's going on is about interaction between the different alien species. The characters are really well drawn. It's mostly all about the crew of one particular ship. It just read itself virtually. I turned around and I was finished it. It was just a really easy read and I really enjoyed it. The only thing, on reflection, there's actually quite a lot of sex in the story. It's not graphic. It's not like a graphic kind of sex story, but there's quite a lot of coupling in different ways. And it slowly dawned on me that almost all of the couples are interspecies couples. And I wondered why that was and what that emphasis was saying, and it took me out of the story a little bit once I kind of realised that. That's my only kind of hesitation about the story. And I don't even know if that's a real hesitation. It's just something that I noticed and made me think, oh, that's a bit odd. Because not all of the races in this thing are kind of, warm and cuddly. Anyway, it's what it is. I enjoyed it. Lots of people have enjoyed it. So if you get your hands on a copy, it's a fun, quick space opera-ish read. After The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet, I read Magic Breaks, which is the 7th Kate Daniels, Ilona Andrews book. This is kind of a climax sort of the ongoing story. There's a confrontation that's been foreshadowed for most of the series up until this point, which actually happens in this book. So it's a pretty important book in the arc because of that. It's not the end of the series. In fact, in the foreword to the book, they explain that they were just given a contract for another 3 books. So I don't think all of those have been published yet, but there's at least another 3 in this series to come. So I'm just continuing to enjoy these. I don't think I've said this for a little while, but I will say as a bit of a warning thing, there is explicit sex scenes in these ones. They are not throughout the story. You can pretty much skip them without missing terribly much, but if you're not expecting them, they can be a bit jarring, and they don't start in the first volume. They kind of kick in about volume 3 in the series. But yeah, so if that's something that's a complete no-no to you, avoid the books. But for me, it doesn't actually spoil the story. They are relatively confined to, the spots that they're in, and you can skip them without missing anything. After that, I had a reread of an old Dorothy Sayers book, Minimus, advertised. I'm not going to talk about that in any depth. I'm probably going to do a review of that for Mystery Monday. Dorothy Sayers is one of my favourite all-time authors, and Murder Must Advertise is a Lord Peter Wimsey story. It's not a Harriet Vane story, although she does actually have an unnamed cameo in the story, because at some point he goes out on a date with an unnamed woman, and presumably it's Harriet who he's out on having dinner with, even though she's not at all part of the story. But yes, I will talk about this one in a Mystery Monday another time. So that brings me to the end of what I've finished this week. Last night I started Sara Paretsky's new book, Brushback, which is the 17th V.I. Warshawski novel. So far I'm really enjoying this. V.I. Warshawski is a private detective in Chicago. She trained as a lawyer, but she's been working as a private detective for a good long, 20 years or something, most of her adult life. This story is all about stuff that happened 25 years ago. So when Vic was a young, well, not even an adult, a teenager. So it's about people who she knew growing up in a particular area in Chicago. It's about something that happened back then, a murder. There's a family who were connected with VI's family, and a murder took place in that family. And the mother of that other family has been in prison for 25 years and has now come out. And her son approaches VI, and they were kind of girlfriend and boyfriend briefly back in the day. And so anyway, this woman's son approaches VI saying that his mother still says she's not guilty and is seeking exoneration. And he sort of sweet talks VI into taking, against her better judgment, taking a look into the case. And so it's a whole bunch of stuff, turning back time and trying to get back to the events of this thing, this really crucial event that happened in her childhood. So I'm only just beginning this, but it's a really engrossing story so far. Once I finish that, the other book that I've got on my e-reader next in the queue is Alice Pung's Unpolished Gem. Alice Pung is an Australian author. She lives in Footscray, or at least she grew up in Footscray. She's from Melbourne. Footscray is actually not that far from where I live. And I'm not 100% certain whether this is a full-on memoir of her childhood or whether it's a, fictionalized version of that. But my understanding is that basically it's a story of growing up Cambodian in Footscray. And yeah, I've read different bits and pieces of Alice Pung's writing, and she's a really talented author and funny. So I'm looking forward to Unpolished Gem. Apart from that, I got an email from the library saying that there's an interlibrary loan for me to pick up, and at this point I don't even remember what I have on order. And so that's a bit exciting. I'm going to go to the library this afternoon and have a look at that. That's what I've got on my plate. I'd love to hear what you're reading at the moment, or if you've read any of these books that I've talked about and you want to tell me what you thought, I'd love to hear that too. I hope you're well, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.